Hi, welcome to another episode of Fearless and Free TV. Today I'm feeling called to talk about what is happening on the Earth realm right now and what is being referred to as Red October. So what does that mean? Well, I've been tuning in and asking about that and wanting to get real clarity about what that is because there's so many messages that are floating around in the airwaves right now, and some of them are very positive and some of them are very negative. And I have my Telegram group and people are always posting things on there about what's going on in the world. I don't watch TV. I don't watch the news. I don't get into what's happening from the physical perspective. So my Telegram group kind of keeps me apprised of what's going on in the world. And I skim through it. And if there's a headline that grabs my attention, I read the article. But for the most part, I don't dive into the tunnels and I don't get into the heavy dark stuff because I know that what we focus on expands. So I'm not putting my energy into any of that negative stuff. I recognize it. I see that it's there, but I'm not going to put my energy into it because I don't want to expand it any more than it already is. So what is this Red October? It's interesting because last year before the election, people were saying Red October, thinking it had to do with the election and with the Patriots color being red. So see, I don't do sides. I don't do liberal versus conservative, Republican versus Democrat. I think all those are labels that were created to divide us. So I don't align with any of them and I don't subscribe to any of them. So, the flag is red, white, and blue. So blue happens to be one of my favorite colors, but I don't align with political parties and I don't buy into any of that division hoopla because I know that it exists to keep us divided and conquered. And so there were a lot of people that were thinking last year that Red October had to do with politics, but I don't think Red October had anything to do with last October. I think it's about this October. I think it's about what started a few days ago. And that it's interesting because I've been seeing the movie lately, The Hunt for Red October, and it's kind of what this month is feeling like. There's a kind of a hunter energy about it, but it's different than other times I've experienced. And so I started asking my guides, asking my higher guidance and source, what is this Red October about? So I think it's a combination of things. One, I think we are going to start seeing some people become terminally ill, affected by the arm pokes, but I think it's more than that. My sense is that there are going to be a lot of people that have been propagating all of the darkness on the earth realm that are going to have blood on their hands. So what I've been seeing the last few weeks is like a card game, and all of these players have to play their cards. There's an ace card that none of us know what it is, and it's being kept a secret for a reason because there are trolls, there are spies who have not that they've infiltrated, but they kind of spy on what the truther community is saying. So everything that's happening in the awakened and aware community, the dark side is aware of what the conversations are that we're having. So, and we're aware of the conversations and things that they're having. So that's why it's important. And I don't watch TV, but every once in a while I flip it on because I think it's important to know what the other side is saying. Otherwise, you're only getting half of the picture. So I like to see the whole picture, even if it's just bits and pieces of it, so that I know what's being said on both sides and I'm not just laser focusing on one side because I don't think that helps humanity at all to only be one-sided. That's what Yeshua meant when he said to turn the other cheek. It was about turning the other cheek and looking at the other person's perspective. So I try to look at the entire perspective rather than just one side. But what I was seeing is that there's an ace up the sleeve. If you imagine that we're playing this card game right now, and the site of light has an ace card up its sleeve. Nobody knows what it is, but my feeling is it's going to be played very soon. So what I was seeing at this card table is all the dark players, it's like a game of poker. So they have to, their cards all get called. Everybody's got to put their cards out on the table. What I'm seeing is that as they put their cards out on the table, they have blood on their hands. And that's what that means. So it's all these people who are responsible for all these crimes against humanity. They are going to start being exposed. And it's what I was seeing, a month or so ago, is all of these different lanes that all of this information's been exposed in, and eventually it's going to converge into one, like a traffic jam of information that they cannot escape from. And that's what's going to start happening. So for people that are frustrated about things not happening fast enough, it's because it's happening across every possible lane or every possible system is a better way of explaining it, so that all this corruption is basically going to become like a giant bottleneck for the human experience. And that's what we're heading into. That's what October feels like to me. So one of the other things I wanted to talk about, so not necessarily that I can't pick a particular day because it depends on how things are being played. But one of the other things that's been brought to my attention is that there are apparently rumors that there are armed forces everywhere, and they're being stationed all over the place for some reason. Now, some people think that it's because they're working on behalf of the dark, and that they're coming out to keep us all enslaved and push us all in our houses. And the feeling I get is the other way around. The feeling I get is they actually, most of them, the number I got this morning was 70%. 70% of them work on behalf of the light. I was watching Tarot by Janine earlier, and she said it's 80%. So most of them do work on behalf of the light. And that they are here, they're being positioned all over the country and apparently all over the world to help mitigate the chaos that might ensue when all of this information starts coming out into the open. So they're not coming to, force everybody in their houses and to enslave us. It's more of to provide food if we need it, and to mitigate the chaos, because as this information is brought out to the open, it's going to freak a lot of people out. And there might be a lot of people who what happens whenever there's a chaotic situation, they go bust into stores and break things, and because the human mind doesn't know what to do with that much unexpected information. So there might be some of that. There might be just a need for peacemakers. So I'm seeing them not as enforcers or enslavers, but more as peacemakers while this bottleneck of information starts to come out. The other thing I wanted to mention is that years ago, I was shown that the RV, the GCR, the Nasara Jasara, I didn't even know Nasara Jasara was a term that existed 10 years ago when I got this information. It was about the RV, the revaluation of international currencies, to create a level playing field for all of the countries on earth to become sovereign for themselves, and then begin to work together in harmony with other countries, no longer under the control of the few controllers. So what I was being shown is that this revaluation would occur under martial law. So all of these military moving into place now has a lot of people freaked out. The martial law is coming in, that it's a bad thing. So again, what I was being shown is it isn't a bad thing. However, part of what's going to happen under martial law is the prosperity programs are going to start flooding the earth. The reason, and this just came to me a couple of weeks ago, the reason it's happening under martial law is so that the dark side is so busy defending itself that it won't be able to stop the prosperity from flowing. So up to this point, every time we've gotten close to the prosperity programs being launched, the people working in the dark have blocked it. They basically, I always get a picture of, and I'm getting the picture again, of a dam, and they dam the flow. So if you imagine the prosperity is a reservoir that has a big dam in front of it, and every time it gets close to opening the floodgates to let the water out, the dam gets shut because literally it's like it gets damned. It's essentially like a curse that's placed on it so that it can't work. And so there, as the all of this darkness is being brought to the surface and exposed and creating this, traffic jam for the dark side, while they're busy trying to fix that mess and they're all in self-preservation, and they're literally, I see them kind of fighting against each other for their own self-preservation. While they're busy doing that, the light can then start to disperse the funds and create the humanitarian projects, and we can start building our new world and putting our infrastructure in place while they're busy, trying to maintain any normal sense of control. So this isn't a bad thing. The military coming to the streets of our communities isn't a bad thing. But what's really important is that we remember to stay out of fear about it, because our fear creates reality. And that other 20 to 30% that does not work on behalf of the light gets almost like gets strengthened by any fear that we feed into it. So we have to stay out of fear. We need to focus on what we know is possible. So about a year and a half ago, when people started going in their houses because of the initial lockdown, what Spirit was showing me is that light can work wonders under the cover of darkness. So all this darkness that's being brought to the surface might look dark, but under the cover of darkness, light is working wonders. And so things aren't always as they appear. It might appear that there's really dark things happening, but there's always a flip side to every story. And if you're willing to flip it over and look at the other side, you'll see that there's a lot of light also behind it. So all this dark stuff is coming out because the light's exposing it. And that, but a lot of people aren't going to be able to understand that that's what's happening. It's going to be very, very scary for the people that don't know what this is all about. So it's up to all of us who are awake and aware to understand what's going on, that all hell breaking loose and on all the, the bottleneck, the traffic jam, however you look at it, is becoming that for a reason. Because it's funny, the word I'm hearing is clusterfuck. I'm not a swearing kind of person, but that's what I'm hearing. And it's going to be a clusterfuck for people who don't know what it is. And that we need to recognize that all of that chaos is happening so that the light can get in there and start creating the world that we all want to participate in. So that is my message for today. And as always, remember to shine your light so high that others can't help but see their own light. And remember to get bold, be fearless, and live free. Wow. Be sure to hop on over to my official website at victoriareynolds.com and pick up your free gift and check out all the other goodies that I have there for you.